Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Good, Professor. How are you?
Good, thanks. Don't be shy. Chime in. I like your Mickey ears.
Well, Professor, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How you doing?
Awesome.
Okay. So you guys ready? So we have heads or we have tails. Which one do you want? Choose wisely. Ooh, I shouldn't wear this shirt on the monitor. Just noticed that. So we got heads at 63%, tails. Uh-oh. All right. So it looks like heads wins. All right. You ready? Drum roll, please. Oh, you guys got so lucky. Oh, wait, no, you didn't get lucky. All right, so we're going to do a quiz. All right. So the quiz is actually on iLearn, and we will start it in just like a few minutes. So you're going to need to go to iLearn. And take the quiz there. It's a little two questions, 5 little parts. So real easy, and it's timed. So I'm trusting all of you not to cheat. And
Where is it posted? Isn't that an announcement?
it's posted in under course materials, week 3, I believe, or no, under assignments. Let me double check.
So where the mini case
Either
are?
under week 3 or assignments, Professor.
Let me double check and see where it's at. Okay, it's under assignments. So go under assignments, and you have 5 minutes to take the test.
I don't see it in
I don't
assignments.
see either, Professor. I just see Walmart and Southwest Airlines, which are just the case studies.
Okay, it's not going to show up for a few more minutes. It'll show up at 9:35. So I'll give you guys all a few moments to do a quick study. I'll answer any questions that you have for in the next couple of minutes. So you guys, how many of you watched the Xerox little video about Xerox and Apple? What did you guys think about that?
Very dramatized, as it says in the title.
Yeah, a little over dramatized there, but it's actually fairly accurate. And how many of you didn't even know that Xerox even invented the first personal computer?
Did not.
Everybody thought it was Apple, huh?
Professor, I did have an unrelated question about discussions.
Sure.
So what are the deadlines for those? I'm sure you mentioned that in class already.
Usually I'd like you to have them mentioned by Friday.
Okay.
Everything done by Friday. And by the way, those are participation points. So if you're not participating in the discussions, you're not going to get an A in the class or even a B.
Okay. And if we still haven't done the Xerox discussion, would you recommend that we still do that, or is it just too late?
I recommend you get your butt going and do it quickly.
Okay, for sure.
Okay. So we have 100 and something students in this class, and on average, only 70 students are participating. So that's 30 of you that's not going to get a very good grade in this class. So I suggest you start doing those. Okay. So one more minute and the test and the quiz should show up. And then you guys have 5 minutes to take the quiz. And then we'll all meet back in here. Well, actually, I don't even think you have to leave the Zoom room. Any other questions? Oh, look, Francis made it just in time to to have the quiz. Yes, quiz for you. It's under assignments and it should be available in a few seconds. John, you don't have enough bandwidth to do that.
Is it about chapter 4?
Yes, chapter 4, the one you just read.
Yeah, I was thinking about that last night. Why? It's like we're doing a pre-test. So before you explain it and stress on the good points, it's like we're lost. Can we do it after you explain the things?
No,
Okay.
Professor, I don't see it. Is it on already?
let me check.
Did everyone else start the quiz? I don't see anything.
Yeah, everybody else is taking the quiz except for you. I'm just messing with you.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not doing it. All right. I've never done a quiz on iLearn before, so this is a first for me. And it should be available. Items is hidden from students. All right, it's now available.
Professor, there's a error after I submit the quiz.
It's available now under assignment.
Yeah, it's available now under assignments. Okay. So is everybody able to access it?
Yes, I can see it now. Should we start it?
Yes, start it. You have 5 minutes. Are you taking the test, Watson?
Yes. So, but like after I submit, there will be a arrow. I can show you.
Okay. What is
I don't know why.
what is the error?
Can you see the screen?
I can.
Yes, there is an arrow. I don't know why.
I don't know either. Okay. So we'll have them try and submit it and see what happens. Did we get all the case studies corrected for the first one for Walmart?
Sorry, what?
Do we get all the case studies done and graded for Walmart?
Yes, but still, like, I think one or two people just register for the class, and yeah,
Yeah, Friday was the deadline.
okay.
You look so stressed, Francis. It's just a quiz. It's only worth 5 points. Relax. And I still have you muted, so I can't hear you.
Are they only 2 questions?
Yes, there are only 2 questions.
Okay, I think I did it. I was stressed. I couldn't scroll down to see more questions. I should have read some more.
Well, I have no problem submitting it.
Okay.
Everybody else had?
No, I think Watson had a problem, but there was a little button I didn't click, and so I went back and edited it and clicked it. So I think that resolved all the issues. So I've never done a test on iLearn before, so I didn't know how that did.
I thought we were gonna have tests on Kahoot. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Very well. I did a test run on that, and I didn't like the way it worked. So I just decided to use what the university wanted me to use is iLearn.
I see.
All right, so since this is a test run, don't worry about it. Don't stress over it too much.
Wait, does that mean this quiz is not graded?
Well, if everything turns out correctly, it should be graded, yes, but don't stress.
Okay.
It's worth 5
I'll
points
just,
out of the general scheme of things, and I dropped the lowest quiz, so when I figure in the points, so it's
That's
nothing
right.
to lose sleep about, okay?
yeah, I'm just checking because I feel like I did pretty good. Like I wanted points.
Okay. The YouTube live streaming is I post the link at the end of the class, so you'll be able to do that. And if you miss the quiz, you miss the quiz. That's why we have the quiz in the first thing.
Oh yeah. Actually, I realized that too. Is it a problem that it says non-given response feedback? Well, no, wait, non-given is just response feedback. Sorry.
Yeah, they're in essay format, so you have to write or type in the questions. And I'm not sure what non-given is. So if you didn't respond, then it's probably not going to take it. Yes, it's on iLearn. Is that what that means? I haven't given response on the answers?
I answered both of them, but it still says non-given.
I don't know.
I guess the feedback is not given, not the answer.
Yeah,
Feedback
that's
means,
confusing.
yeah.
Oh, right, that's right. The feedback is different. Okay.
Yeah, I've never done this before, so.
It just means that you haven't graded the quizzes yet because they were written responses.
Okay,
Professor,
yes, Gabriel.
I have a question. This is regarding the midterm. So you said that we're going to be on Zoom like this, and then it'll be the midterm will be given via iLearn.
Yeah, it's gonna have an hour-long midterm on iLearn. So basically, I'd probably just do the Zoom meeting, start it, get you guys started, then you do it, and then that's it. And then we just close the meeting.
And once again, that's week 5, Thursday, correct?
Whatever's on the syllabus, yeah,
Okay.
which is 4:30 midterm. So yeah. So we'll start it on Zoom and then I will let you guys go do your midterms and it'll be timed. So watch it very closely because if you don't turn it in on time, like this quiz is only open until 9:50, then what'll happen is you won't be able to submit it. So, and then the midterm, excuse me, the midterm is going to be such that you're not going to be able to look up questions and be able to finish the midterm. You're going to have to either know them or not know them. And a lot of them will be multiple choice because if you take the time to look up the questions that you're not supposed to be looking up because it's not actually that type of a quiz, you're not going to be able to answer all of them and you're going to lose a lot of points. So that's pretty much the only fair way I can come up with giving you a midterm, other than a really extensive take-home midterm, which those are ridiculous, but I don't even want to do those. Okay. And also we had some stuff about security breach. So we haven't had any security breaches in our Zoom rooms, so I'm not going to change anything. If we do have a security breach, then I will change stuff. But other than that, we're pretty good. I'm not going to make you guys do a bunch of passwords and encryptions and all that other stuff. So unless we have issues, if we have some Zoom bombers, then we'll do that, but no.
Professor, is it possible for you to maybe change the settings for the midterm and have it automatically submit at whatever time? Because I did that in the past for like one of my finals, and I think that would work better because I feel like if someone forgets to submit it by the time, that would suck if they got like a 0.
Yeah, it would suck if they got a 0. I don't know. Can I do that? Can I automatically submit on iLearn? Will it do that? Has anybody run across that before?
Yes,
you can do
the
that.
app will let you submit automatically.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll have it submit automatically. So you'll get an hour to do your midterm test and it'll automatically submit. And then whatever answers you have, and whatever you don't, you don't. Okay. Now who's taken the test on iLearn before? Okay.
I did.
All right. So I've never submitted any tests on iLearn. I've only used it for supplemental stuff. So okay, I'll go ahead and do a little bit experimenting with that. You guys want to do a trial run?
Sure.
Okay.
Like, do we keep it on so that we see if it automatically submit?
Keep what? The Zoom on?
No, like when we open the quiz, right? Like we save our answers, but we don't submit it, and then after the timer closes, we'll see if it's submitted by itself.
Okay. I'll try that on the quiz next week.
Okay.
So everybody, you're gonna have a quiz next week on chapter 5. Okay.
Given a coin toss, right? Or
We're gonna have a quiz now because Tina wants to test out the theory.
What?
We're doing Tina. It's all her fault for a quiz next week.
What?
I know. Don't worry, it won't be too difficult. Just want to make sure you guys, if you guys read the chapter, basically the quiz is just so you read the chapter. If you read the chapter, like what was one question? What was on the very first page of the quiz? It was what did the car company, Tata Motors. So, you know, if you read the chapter, you would have known that. All right. So are we ready to get started? No, we got one more minute. So is everybody done with the quiz? Last quarter, all your finals were on iLearn. That's good. Yukio, I will have to have you be my assistant for this, since you have all the experience. Okay. Okay, RCC, you took some classes at RCC. Okay, all that. Nano is not the correct answer. Not even close.
I have a question. I was in the middle of typing one of the sources. All I got to type was proprietary. I didn't get to put knowledge after it because it's submitted while I was in the middle of typing it. Would I get partial for that or no?
That's up to Watson, probably. If you got partial answer in there, you'll get it.
Okay.
Yes, I like to tease you. I'm sorry, Tina. I have a very sarcastic sense of humor.
I feel like the whole class is against me now.
Oh, you'll be fine. Okay, time's up.
Can we do no quiz?
Everybody should have submitted the test. Okay. And everybody, give Tina a thumbs up. She did a great job. All right. All right, so we ready to go? Gabriel, don't give everybody the answers. Jeez. All right. So on with the show. All right. Week 3, woohoo. All right, so we just had our little quiz. We're gonna go through the Walmart answers. Chapter 4, which is all about cost advantage and Tata Motors that we talked about, who is the Walmart of auto manufacturing in India. Economies of scale and scope, learning curve, input costs, different business models. Talk a little bit about Southwest. Those answers were posted. I mean, those questions were posted, and then also I posted those at the end of last week's slideshow. So they've been posted now for over a week. All right. So what's due and new, and what's new, and then the Q&A. Already did the quiz questions. Okay. What is the name of the car company your book used? And name 4 of the 5 sources. Okay, you guys ready? Tata Motors, you guys didn't know they made big old huge buses, did you? No. All right, this is the cheapest car in the world. All right, so apparently their marketing strategy didn't work too well. Okay, sources of cost advantage, economies of scale, learning and experience effects, lower cost due to proprietary knowledge, low input costs, and different business models. Okay. So the Walmart mini case. So why was Walmart so successful? Well, it was many different things that led to being the low cost leader, right? Okay. Local prices, markets, distribution, vendor pricing, factors from entire value chain. Okay, so value chain is something that you're gonna want to know forwards and backwards. All right. What is the single most important thing? Walmart began with a goal to provide customers with the goods they wanted whenever and wherever they wanted them, and all of that boils down to everyday low prices. So everything Walmart does, but do they really have the lowest prices? No, they don't. Why exactly are Walmart's costs lower than its competitors? Distribution is number 1. Because of the distribution change that Walmart has built, they can distribute their products all over the world, all over the United States, very cheaply, cheaper than anybody else. Okay, so the relationship they have with their suppliers Information technology, not just in the distribution chain, but throughout the whole entire value chain. They have innovative information technology that allows them to save a lot of money. Okay, so everything from HR to marketing to store costs to location versus population. Remember when we talked about Walmart likes to put stores in areas with population of about 50,000 people. What they do is once they go into a market like that, nobody else is going to attempt to challenge them. Target won't go there. Nobody else will go there. Unfortunately, their tactics put a lot of mom and pop businesses out of business. Unfortunately, that's what their strategy and tactic is, and it works very well for them. All right, so over 2,000 stores are in rural America. Higher prices in smaller markets, they can actually charge a higher price and get a bigger profit margin because they have no competitions in these small markets when they do stuff like that. Okay, and obviously it's a lot cheaper to open a big old store in a rural area than it is, building one in a cow pasture as opposed to building one in a downtown market where the price is 100 times higher than what it costs in a rural area. Okay, first mover advantage, we just spoke about that, and innovative technology and distribution elsewhere in the supply chain. All right, so why can't Walmart competitors imitate Walmart's realize similar high profits? If you were to Target, what would you do differently? That was a good question. So what did some of you guys put down for that? On the Target, if you guys were running Target, what would you do differently? This is your participation points again. You guys can chime in at any time. I have all day. Something about streaming the supply chain? No. Actually, that would be actually a good answer. Because Target is a different, they go after a different type of customer, but if they can emulate what Walmart does with the supply chain and cut their costs a lot lower, that would probably be a very good answer. That would be a very good answer of something that they could actually do. So very good. Okay. What would you want to imitate beside the supply chain? Online market. That's a good answer. You wouldn't change anything. Why not? Why wouldn't you change anything, Carlos? Carlos, are you there? Don't make me look for you. All right. What do you think Walmart has had difficulty succeeding in foreign markets? This is actually a very good question for some of you that are from foreign markets that have some Walmart experience. What do you think about in China, about in South America? The culture?
Don't these foreign markets already have other low cost retailers? I forgot the names, but there's like 3 companies that have like already like become
Some do, some don't. Like in India, being the low cost leader didn't help Tata Motors because people didn't want to be associated with being cheap. So sometimes that's not always a good market to get into.
Yeah, I think the UK has they have Tesco.
Yes, UK has Nesco. I've been there.
Me too.
The cheapest. So, for example, in Brazil or even India, they had a huge problem in India where the management, they couldn't find people to do for management, especially in rural areas. And then if you're in a rural area, how hard is it to get your product out there if they don't have any roads or roads that a big truck can't go on? So they can't even get their products to the stores. That's how bad it was. So there's many different factors. Yeah, Jesse put down that also the government made them buy more locally made stuff, so their prices couldn't be as competitive as opposed to buying everything from China. Okay.
Yeah, in South Korea, they were kicked out. Well, it wasn't kicked out. It just failed because South Korea didn't want to support China because Walmart was in bed with China.
Correct.
And their competitors. So it failed in South Korea because of that reason.
Yeah, and then in Germany, they had an epic fail in Germany. They couldn't get the people to come into their stores, even though they had the best prices and everything. The Germans didn't want anything to do with them. It was just you know, a matter of no, we don't even want, you know, we don't want the Walmarts. So okay, cultural differences, values, exactly. Let's see. Yes, in China, you're right. Walmart did have a very big problem in the beginning with the supply chain and moving product around. Even though most of the product was made there, they still had a problem getting it to the stores. Exactly. All right. One of the big fees, lack of income in small markets, like in India, some of the rural areas, people were making less than $10,000 a year. So it wouldn't benefit you to go to Walmart and buy a couple $100 worth of stuff, you know, every week because you can't afford it. Okay. Lack of vehicles for customers to drive to the Walmarts, especially when you have your store in a rural area and everybody's spread out. You can't actually get to the Walmart. And if you can, you're on a little scooter, and how are you going to take a lot of stuff on a little scooter, right? Can you imagine a 90 pack of toilet paper strapped onto the scooter? So, okay. So distribution is difficult with poor infrastructures in rural area, and then getting the management, educated management to actually run the stores was difficult. Okay. So in the trend of online purchases, what should Walmart do in order to keep up with Amazon? What did you guys put?
Integrate their systems with, is it Jet or Jot or whatever that?
Yeah, what happens is they bought out a couple of companies to compete with Amazon. Like Amazon bought out Zappos, shoe company. So what else? So buying companies to compete with Amazon. What about building their own infrastructure on the internet? E-commerce grocery. Yep, they're doing that, Tina. Good answer, Tina. Everybody give Tina applause. I'm sorry, Tina. I'm just like teasing you. All right. Keep Walmart prices consistent, mainly in the stores. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. So, like we spoke before, Amazon is trying to build stores and build their distribution where Walmart already has that built and done. So Walmart's trying to compete with Amazon on the internet, and Amazon's trying to compete with Walmart on the ground. So, all right, so jet.com, Hay Needle, which I've never even heard of before, shoes.com, Moose Jaw, and ModCloth. They really need to change some of these names. They're horrible. All right. So questions about anything on Walmart? Yeah, Walmart's website's still kind of spotty. You know, Amazon, if you go on Amazon and you type in something, it won't show you necessarily the lowest price. It will show you the one that they want to sell you, the vendor that they want to use. I actually sell on Amazon. It's a horrible company to sell on, but it's a good company to buy on because Amazon likes to be on the side of the consumer as opposed to the side of the vendor. And they're losing a lot of vendors, by the way. So. So what Amazon will do is they won't give you the lowest price, but they will actually, you have to actually look for it. You have to click, do a couple more clicks after your product comes up to see who else is selling that and what lower prices they have it at. So because the way Amazon makes their money is they actually charge you a percentage of the sales price. So if you sell a product for $100, they get 8%. So if they can get you to buy that product at $150, they make more money. Okay. Many products on Amazon are also not sold by Amazon. So Walmart and Amazon are very much the same like that. Amazon has what they call fulfilled by Amazon, fulfillment by Amazon, which means that they're still not the company selling the product, they're just shipping it. So for example, I will put 5 machines in a Walmart distribution center. I still have to pay for them. I don't get paid for them until somebody buys them. And I'm sorry, an Amazon distribution center. So until those are sold, I don't get paid on them, but they're sitting in a warehouse in one of Amazon's warehouse throughout the United States. So that's how they do the fulfillment by Amazon. So you think it's actually them selling it to you, but it's not. But they're shipping it to you in one day. So Amazon really doesn't buy anything from the consumers. They just make it look like it's coming from them. All right, so let's move on. So chapter 4, look at that cute little car. All right, so cost advantage strategy. You have the cost advantage and the differentiation advantage, which is next week. Okay, so we're going to concentrate on cost advantage this week. Okay, so basically you have 2 strategies. A firm reduces its prices below all of its competitors, thereby allowing it to gain market share, which that's what Walmart's strategy is, correct? Okay, a firm may choose the same price as competitors, which results in greater profits rather than higher market share. So you have the 2 different strategies. You sell low, gain a lot of market share, or you sell at the same price as your competitors and gain a higher profit, but you don't get as much market share. Okay, so your quiz questions, economies of scale, everybody knows these, right? Learning and experience effects and the rest of them. Okay, so economies of scales basically arise from 4 principles: ability to spread fixed costs of production, ability to spread non-production costs. Those would be your administrative costs, like purchasing and all that other legal. Specialization of equipment. If you're using equipment to manufacture things like a car manufacturer does, you need to have those costs spread out. For example, General Motors in the 70s and 80s produced so many cars that they could actually lower their cost on a Cadillac or a Corvette or any of their cars, that the cost would be so low that nobody else making cars could have competed with them. Okay, so they could have taken that strategy and put everybody out of business. They chose not to. Specialization of people. We will get into that in a little bit later. So the economies of scale, a reduction in cost per unit due to increase in efficiency of production as the number of goods being produced increases. Okay, so for examples, buys in bulk. Who does that? Walmart. R&D budget, $7 billion for research and development by Intel. Okay, no other company can compete with that. Nobody's spending $7 billion a year on research in the computer industry. Okay, 48 billion in operating cash flows. That's just money they have sitting around. Okay, can you imagine? Let's go buy a country. We got 58 billion. All right, so ExxonMobil does that. So the money that they can put into that cash flow into operations, into exploring new oil fields, to whatever, they have 58 billion. Okay, so a scale curve. So these are definitions that are in your book. Know them, learn them. They will be on the midterm. Okay, a graphic representation of the relationship between per unit and scale. Minimum effect scale, diseconomies of scale, an increase in marginal cost when output is increased. And economies of scale, the average total cost of production decrease as a result of increasing the number of different goods produced. Okay, So the more cars that you build, the cheaper they should be. That's economies of scope. All right. For your economic majors, here you go. The chart just for you. Minimum efficiency scale, optimal quantity as a volume of production. Okay. So on to learning and experience effects. So the cost advantage strategy, a strategy in which the unique value offered to customers is lower priced products or services. The learning curve on the labor. So the more the labor learns how to do something, like for example, manufacturing refrigerators. So if you have a guy who's been on the floor doing this for 20 years, he can manufacture that refrigerator faster and quicker and better than anybody else in competing industries. Okay. So the older your workforce is, the more experienced they are, the better the learning curve is. Okay. And the experience curve also, which relates to that, a representative of the relationship between cumulative volume and product cost. Okay. For your economic majors, again, the law of experience, variable and average, variable plus fixed cost per unit decline by a constant percentage, typically 10 to 30% each time cumulative output doubles. All right. Questions? No, you can't finance that car. It's only $2,500.
Professor, I have a question.
Sure.
So may I ask, what's the difference between the volume of production and the cumulative volume of production? Because I can see on the chart of experience curve or the scale curve, the axis X is different. So the first one is the volume of production, but for the experience curve is a cumulative output or volume of production.
Okay, so the best fit line goes down in cost per unit because of the cumulative output and the experience. So the more experienced your workers are, the more they can produce, the lower the cost goes.
So that means the cumulative output is the same to the, like just a volume of production?
Correct. So the more you can produce, the more you become experienced, the more you come practiced at it, the more you can produce.
I see.
It'll come to a finite conclusion, though. You can't keep going lower and lower forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so decreasing variable cost per unit due to learning. So the human learning efficiency, design and process technology and learning. So as technology progresses, so does the cost getting lower and lower. Okay. Increased fixed cost per unit due to scale, economies of scale. So the more that you're producing, the more that you spread fixed costs over different departments of your value chain, so it doesn't cost you as much anymore. And this mostly applies to manufacturing, not to service type industries. Okay, so the limitations: market share does not guarantee substantial cost advantages. So what is the cost of market share? Learning curve flattens with high experience. And spillovers of knowledge to rivals lowers their cost of learning. So say that you came up with a new technology and how to build a car, and you implement that, and then suddenly your competitors get that same knowledge. So, or they hire people that's developed that or made that. So the spillover of knowledge to rivals, so they're learning what you're doing and imitating it. So the cost is not an advantage anymore. Aging equipment can impede continuing learning and cost advantages. For example, airlines, if they're spending more time fixing the plane than flying it, that will be something that would be the aging of equipment. Okay, disadvantages of scale. Firms with a scale have an advantage in economic upturns, but many be at a disadvantage during downturns. For example, right now we have suddenly 6 million people unemployed because of the coronavirus. So companies are going to take advantage of that. Companies like Microsoft, Apple, some of these big companies are going to lay anywhere from 10 to 20% of their workforce off just because they can get away with it now because of the downturn of the economic downturn right now. Okay, if you have less people, you can't spread your costs over demand decline, so you're not having the demand that you used to have, so your costs are going to go up because you're not selling as much. Okay, firms with heavy fixed assets can respond to the concern by shifting more of their cost structure from fixed cost to variable cost, outsourcing to make costs more variable, using labor instead of capital. So even right now, they're not even using labor. They're laying people off. Diversifying into businesses that are counter-cyclical. Okay, so these are the disadvantage of the scale of the economy. Okay, questions so far? Okay, nothing on the chat board. You guys are doing good. Lower cost due to proprietary knowledge. Okay, so information that is not public that is reviewed as a property of the holder. Okay, so what are some examples of proprietary knowledge that you guys know about? Let's share. Don't make me call on you, Gabriel.
Isn't it like patents and trademarks and things along those natures? Or are you looking for specific examples?
Exactly. And what would be a good example of that?
A good patent. Oof. I don't know any off the top of my head, but maybe like an automotive industry. They have like, I genuinely cannot think of a patent that, you know, differentiates a product in any given industry.
Yeah. Kelsey, that's good. Patents. Philip, Coca-Cola. They have, we'll talk about them in a bit. Trademarks, copyrights. What about, yeah, medical, exactly. What about some of these medications that these companies are charging, you know, $700 for a pill because they said the R&D costs them so much money they have to make up money on it. Okay, what about these guys? Everybody know who this is? The guy who started his business when he was like 60-something years old?
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders, very good. You guys want to know the secret spices, all 11 of them? So, for example, when he first came out, they had the secret 11 spices of his chicken. So that was a trademark or a brand that he sold. Okay, so nobody knew what the secret spices were. I don't know if those are actually the secret spices or not. Toyota's production system, for example, they have the TPS, Total Toyota Production System. They use a pull system to avoid overproduction. Just-in-time delivery reduces the inventories, so they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of parts sitting in a warehouse just waiting to be used. Okay, level out the workload to smooth production. Use visual controls to eliminate problems and reduce defects. And they find the bottleneck to increase productivity. So they have all these procedures put into place, which is something that nobody else in the car industry has done for many, many years. So now that that they see how successful Toyota is, they're emulating it. Toyota's even done some joint ventures with some of the American auto companies and to build in the South, they're building cars. Yes, the Krabby Patty formula, that's a secret. Okay, that's funny. Who did that? Carlos, you're too funny. Okay, cost reduction at U.S. auto plants attempt to imitate Toyota's production system. So when they try and imitate a lot of different of their systems, they can't do it as well as Toyota. So this is what gives Toyota the advantage, is that they've been doing these for a very long time, and they've perfected them over the many, many years. Okay. All right, Coca-Cola. I told you we'd get to Coca-Cola. Secret ingredient in Coca-Cola is cocaine, the coca leaf extract. Okay, so how many of you knew that Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in the original formula? Yep. Where do they keep the recipe? The company transferred the secret formula to the world of Coca-Cola from a vault that used to be in SunTrust Bank in downtown Atlanta for many, many years. All right. So lower input costs is next on our list. Those are the secret spices, Diego. They're not just. Okay, so inputs resources such as people, raw materials, energy information, or financing that are put into a system to obtain a desired output. For example, a lot of the manufacturing plants now are putting solar panels on these big, huge roofs that they have. So they have acres and acres of roofing, and they're putting solar panels up there for energy to run the plant. So basically they don't have to pay. It's like almost zero to run the plant for electricity. Okay, and these plants take up a lot of electricity. Okay. So there are 4 primary ways that companies achieve cost advantage through lower cost inputs. And I told you guys that anything I put in red on the slides is probably going to be on the midterm, right? Yes. Okay. So anything in red is going to be on the midterms. Exercise strong bargaining power over suppliers. That's something Walmart does, right? Cooperating especially well with suppliers is something Walmart does. Getting inputs from low-cost locations. Arranging better access to inputs than other companies have. All right. So for example, Walmart has made arrangements with a lot of different Chinese manufacturing companies to manufacture special products. Who's better known for that? The Kirkland brand for Costco. They arrange with different manufacturers to put their name and everything on the products that they want them to manufacture for them. All right. Honda is what Honda has started almost 100 years ago was to make motors. That's all they did. They made motors. They made motors for boats. They made generator motors. They made all kinds of different motors. So specializing in motors, they eventually put them into the bikes and then into cars. So something that Honda has made especially well for many, many years, they've been able to develop that into other products. Okay. Getting inputs from low cost locations like Nike, they don't actually manufacture their own shoes, but what they do is they get places like South Korea, China, Sri Lanka to manufacture their shoes for companies. They hire companies to manufacture their shoes to their specifications. Okay. And arranging better access is De Beers. De Beers basically controls all of the diamonds. All right. Lower input costs, bargaining power over suppliers, purchasing volume, purchasing and negotiation tactics, which is Walmart is very well known for, cooperating with suppliers, preferred access to inputs, oil drilling locations, for example, location advantages, wages, rates, exchange rates, raw materials, and energy. Exchange rates, for example, a lot of companies will bank in Canada, will have subsidiaries in Canada, and just by transferring dollars to Canadian currency, they actually make money. All right, so different business models. Okay. The plan and set of activities implemented by a company to offer unique value and generate revenue and make a profit from operations is what the definition of business model is. Okay, the value chain. I cannot stress enough how much you need to know the value chain. The sequence of all activities that are performed by a firm to turn raw materials into the finished products that is sold to you. All right. So configuring the value chain, eliminating activity steps in the value chain, eliminating retail stores. And so Netflix and Amazon have basically created different business models by creating different a different way for the consumers to get the product. So in the beginning, Netflix was mailing out CDs, right? You can go and they'd have CDs that you go online and they would mail you a CD, 2 or 3 CDs, you watch it, and then you return them. Now Netflix does what? Streaming, right? So they've taken a business model where you would actually go to Blockbuster or some other type of video store, rent a movie, bring it home. Now you don't even have to go out of your house. You just stream everything in real time, or well, not in real time, but stream it. Okay. So sources of cost advantage. Economies of scale. Greater unit volume allows firms to have lower costs by spreading fixed costs across more units, which is Walmart. Intel. Greater cumulative volume drives cost differences due to greater learning experience with companies more than a cumulative experience. And we got Toyota, the advantage of proprietary knowledge, and Nike, lower input costs. Basically, like Nike outsources almost everything they do. And then Netflix is a different business model. Okay. So the source of cost advantage, different business models. Uber and Lyft, what did they do to the taxi cab services that used to be around? Almost put them out of business, right? Okay. So you have an Uber driver that doesn't have a city license to shuttle people around, who doesn't have to do anything but put the app down on his phone, pretty much put these guys out of business, the New York taxi cab drivers. So that little emblem right there, how much do you think they have to pay for those per car? How much? A New York taxi cab medallion costs between $160,000 to $250,000 each. So do you think if an Uber driver had to come up with that kind of money, they would be in business? Absolutely not, right?
Why are they so expensive?
Because one, they have a limit on how many cars you can drive in the city and how many taxi cabs you can have in the city. So it's supply and demand. So if you want to be a taxi cab driver in New York City, that's the cost of having a license to do so.
But taxi cab drivers, do they make that much money?
Apparently. I mean, can you imagine having an Uber or Lyft driver come up with $160,000 for a license? Do you think an individual would do that? So they totally disrupted the whole business model of what a taxi cab driver does. Some cities, like I think London for a while, wouldn't even allow Lyft or Uber to drive within the city. For a long time, LAX refused to let the Uber and Lyft drivers even come close to the airport because they're trying to protect the taxi cab drivers. All right, any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. So on Uber, you know, some cities like, let's say Paris, France, they mandated for them to have a license and liability. And I think in America, we're still kind of behind on regulating these kind of things. So they still can go without it.
Well, that's another thing too, is all those taxi cab drivers are supposed to be vetted and they're supposed to be have all the credentials and all this other stuff, where the Uber drivers didn't and the Lyft drivers don't, until just recently, where they had all those problems where they're starting to get them have background checks and whatnot.
True, exactly.
So but Uber and Lyft totally disrupted that they're a total disruption to what the taxi cab drivers have. That's one, they're cheap, they're a lot cheaper. They don't have to pay for the insurance like these taxi cab drivers do. And if any of you have ever driven Lyft or Uber, you'll know that the insurance company, your personal insurance company, is starting to give you a hard time about that. So, do we have any Uber or Lyft drivers who want to chime in? No? Actually, it was $1 million at one point that those taxi cabs in New York City had to pay. They actually, one of them went for $1 million because of, I don't know why, but that's how much of the highest price they went for. Okay. Other questions, concerns? How do we do on the quiz? Yes, no? So all those, Watson, did you check to see if all those quizzes showed up on iLearn, on assignments? And the grading?
Let me see.
Okay. So I want to make sure everything's good. All right. So I'm going to do a breakout room with you guys. I want you to discuss the Southwest. There's in under materials, course materials, there's an article about Southwest Airlines. I want you to read that, and I want you to discuss that in your little groups. I'm going to put you in groups of 105 people. I'm going to put you in groups of 5. Or no, I'm going to put you in groups of 8.
No, it's 9. I think.
Yeah, I know that. That's for our final project. But this is just, I'm just going to do a breakout room. And so what I'm going to do is put you guys into little groups, and I want you to discuss that article. It's a little one-page article, front and back. And about Southwest Airlines, I want you to talk about their value chain, how it's been affected, one, by what happened with the MAX 737, and then also about what's happening right now with the COVID-19, how their value chain has been affected. Okay, so since you guys have been reading up on Southwest Airlines, you should know all about all that, right? Let me see. Who left? Somebody left the room.
Professor, I can see the quiz. Yeah, on the.
You see the quiz?
Yeah, need grading. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do 18 rooms. All right, so I'm going to put you guys all into a discussion group. Go have fun. I will drop in and check in on you guys. All right. Oh, excuse me. Hello, everyone. I don't hear you talking. And mic and start conversing. What was that, Caroline? Yeah, there you go. Article is, it's under, it is under course materials, week 2. What you doing, Miriam?
I had lost connection.